should you be buying this PC case at $90? It not only offers 3 pre-installed ARGB-lit fans, but also 2 front panels, either tempered glass or a mesh panel for improved airflow. My dear friends, this is the Cougar Duoface RGB. As said, it can currently be had for about $90. At first glance, it may appear fairly ordinary, and that most likely applies to this case 90%, but those remaining 10% may or may not win some of you over in this price range. As far as what comes included, besides the Duoface itself, there's of course the mentioned mesh panel, the usual accessories, as well as a fan splitter cable. Look-wise, I'll be totally honest with you, it's really not my cup of tea at all. I don't find it pretty, but I wouldn't really call it ugly either, if you know what I mean. At the end of the day, that's simply a matter of taste. What immediately comes to mind when inspecting this case is the fact it's fairly short in depth and actually fairly tall. At least it appears to be. The height is 491 millimeters, while the depth is 386 millimeters, which pretty much can be considered fairly compact. However, not only ATX but also eATX motherboards can fit in here to a certain degree. Now, in order to remove the tempered glass side panel, all you need to do is unscrew a single thumb screw and lift the glass panel away and out of the case. The glass panel also doesn't fall towards you since it's being held in place by magnets. A great solution indeed. The right solid side panel comes off the traditional way by removing 2 thumb screws. And this is also where one notices we aren't dealing with the highest quality standard here. The overall build quality of this specific case model is good, but certainly not great. The tempered glass panel on the front can easily be removed by hand without any tools and allows us to replace it with the mesh panel just as quickly in case you prefer airflow over glass aesthetics. Luckily, Cougar left pretty notable vents between either front panel and the case. This way, the airflow even with that glass panel is not catastrophic. Behind the front panel, there also happens to be a decent dust filter that easily and elegantly slides in and out. At the top, we see our usual magnetic dust filter solution. At the bottom, for the power supply, one of the cheap, flimsy ones. Now, on paper, the Duoface appears to be doing well, even though due to the lower depth, compromises needed to be made as far as radiator support is concerned. Out of the box, this case comes with 3 pre-installed ARGB fans, 2 of which in the front are 140mm ones, the one on the rear 120mm. I will point out though that all these fans feature 3-pin connectors, therefore lack PWM. Modern motherboards don't have any issues with controlling those when using the DC function, however, allowing us to still control those fan speeds. At the top, there's room for up to a 240/280mm radiator, which also applies to the front. But do watch out, a 280mm radiator can either be installed in the front or top, but not both at the same time. Cutout holes, the Duoface for now seems to be offering plenty, even though not all holes come with rubber grommets. When taking a look at the back, we immediately can't help but spot the integrated ARGB controller. Out of the box, everything's already pre-connected properly, which also applies for the illuminated light bar at the case's front bottom. There also are 2 extra headers at our disposal for ARGB expansion. The reset button, as so often, has been sacrificed for the controller, allowing you to switch between different colors and effects. The controller, however, can just as well connect to one's motherboard, and that way we can control the whole lighting via said motherboard. The power supply only has strictly limited space here. Officially, 160mm is the maximum length. By loosening a thumb screw, the whole hard drive cage can easily be taken out of the case. And that is a necessity since hard drives can only be screwed into place outside of the case. Now, if the power supply's length allows for it, you could even reposition the cage slightly further to the right. 2.5-inch SSDs are installed the usual way, 2 at max, hanging on these trays on the back of the motherboard tray. USB-C, unfortunately, is not on board here, something that simply shouldn't be missing these days, in my opinion. All we are being offered are two pieces of 3.2 as well as a single 2.0 port of the Type A. Alright, so what was building hardware into the Duoface RGB like? To my surprise, not bad at all. I didn't run into the slightest annoyance whatsoever and can therefore praise Cougar for that. The top-mounted 240mm radiator fits without any issues thanks to those mounting holes being shifted further away from the motherboard, so there's no interference with the board's heatsinks in the slightest. One criticism might be that there's only one cutout at the bottom for cables. Another one, a little further to the left, wouldn't have hurt. Long graphics cards certainly can fit in here, although the max length should not exceed 330mm. So be cautious with certain GPU models, especially if there's a radiator mounted in the front. Vertical graphics card installation is possible in here, but the slots need to be broken out the old-fashioned way, something I simply cannot approve of. Realistically speaking, only few will probably install their card vertically in that case anyway. The regular slot covers are equipped with screws though, therefore can be reused. Alright, generally speaking, I would not claim I'm good at cable management, but there's really only very little of room to work on one's cable routing job back here. Still, with a little patience and skill, it is doable. Admittedly, the pre-installed fans don't exactly draw much fresh air into the case, but operate fairly quietly even when at their max of 1000 RPM. In conclusion, the Cougar Duoface RGB doesn't leave any special impression on me. It's neither particularly good, nor is it bad, but it makes a solid choice for some. I don't think there's anything serious speaking against today's Duoface here, especially not at its price point of $90, and when considering its features, the number of pre-installed fans, along with that ARGB controller. At the end of the day, $90 sound reasonably fair. However, those of you that plan on installing a 360mm radiator and are looking for a case that comes with USB-C should look elsewhere. With that said, thank you so much for watching, guys, and until the next one.